This first look is for gamers who are undecided on whether or not it's the game they thought it was, or is it the game that you heard you'd love, or the game that you heard you'd hate, but are still not convinced on whether or not to try it for yourself. My intention is not to talk you into or out of playing the game, but rather to show you, without spoilers, what the world has turned into and how The Last of Us 2 has taken many serious and severe at times steps to enhance your experience from the first game. With that being said, let's jump right into it and talk The Last of Us 2. What's the first thing we notice as the opening scenes come and go? Well, the first thing we see is how the father-daughter relationship between Joel and Ellie has grown since the first adventure. We also see that even with progress made toward the return of humanity, that there is still something eerie and cold about being alive in this post-apocalyptic world. The town is alive and well, food seems to be plentiful, and everyone has a job or a specific duty to keep the town alive. But faces on the town people don't show or give the impression everything's fine. Let's take a second to appreciate the artwork and detail in the game. Everything from the facial animations and the body language that can tell the story for you without one word being spoken. That is truly a feat that not many games have offered me as I've walked through a town. The posters, books, signs are all extremely detailed and legible, adding to the surrounding environment. The misery on most of the town people's faces come through with empty smiles and carefree attitudes. These are just some of the simple yet powerful messaging that occurs without one word spoken early on. The game mechanics have improved tremendously, and so has the flow of how your character reacts to the world around you. Naughty Dog has cleaned up the look and feel when crafting, which is something I think is now smoother and faster to interact with. Some of the items in the world are hard to see and require you to truly search your surroundings. This is one thing that if you're like me and want to find all the collectibles, it can be a bit frustrating, but that's a me problem. I found myself searching and searching because every time I went back through an area, I found another item that I would have missed. Once you leave that area, you can't go back unless you load an older existing save file, which gets annoying to do. So it's better to explore the first time, in my personal opinion. I am currently playing on moderate difficulty, and I found that the items to craft are plentiful. Almost too much is given to you. I'm looking forward to playing on a more difficult mode, such as hard or survivor, immediately following this playthrough. For me personally, not having an abundance of materials and learning to cope with the different challenges in the apocalypse helps make the world feel even that much more helpless and a struggle to survive. Which at the end of the day is exactly how I want to feel in this empty, soulless world that is inhabited by the Walking Dead. The environments are as you'd expect from Naughty Dog. Bold, rugged landscapes that look and feel like you're right there in the mix of everything. The details in the game design and crafting is nothing short of spectacular. I will say that I'm hoping as I progress through the game that the environments show a brighter side on the palette. A lot of what I've experienced thus far has been dark and dreary. Looking forward to seeing how Naughty Dog can brighten or show more colorful landscapes. This time around, Ellie can swim and tackle climbing without as much help as in the first game. So we get to explore these adventures through Ellie's eyes, and the developers were not shy when it came to expanding the landscapes and giving us new visuals on how to access the different terrains. This was much needed as the first game began to feel rinse and repeat halfway through. So far, this game doesn't have that effect on me, and I hope it continues to change things as the game and story progress. The story. Let's talk about the story. Well, here is where an initial review gets tricky because I will not spoil anything in this video. But we have to take a step back and discuss decisions that were made. The decisions were made by the writers and director. When you read your favorite book, watch your favorite movie, or go to your favorite restaurant, regardless, you don't tell the author, director, or chef how to create. You have the right to be judgmental after trying out what they created. I also think that you must experience the game for yourself before becoming judgmental. You can refuse to play the game or not eat at the restaurant, but you can't say if it's good or it isn't good if you didn't at least try the game or the food yourself. That being said, I completely see why the writers went in the direction they did. For me, it was a way to captivate my feelings even further for the characters in the game. Your affection goes up, your anger goes up, your hatred goes up, your ability to rationalize goes up. These are the emotions that are so hard for a writer to pull out of his audience, and in my opinion, The Last of Us 2 manages to touch every emotion known to us and get you to feel exactly how they intended you to. Trust me, it's an experience in gaming worth trying out yourself. And one last thing I'll leave you with is how well the story is told in terms of timeline. There are flashbacks and jumps back and forth that keep the character development growing, but never loses you as you go between the various time frames. That's where I'll leave the story, because I feel if I give too many examples, it'll ruin the game for some, and that is not the intent of this initial review. I'm probably right around the halfway mark, and I want to take my time and enjoy this game. Some issues I ran into were the typical first week bugs of not being able to pick up an item at first, but had to try 2 or 3 times before grabbing the item. Some of the AI, which was rumored to be a lot smarter this time around, still got a dim-witted way about them and hasn't presented enough of a challenge on moderate. I'm hoping once I up the difficulty, that will also change and present the AI with a better decision when it comes to hunting me down. And if there was ever a time to talk about faster loading times coming up in next generation consoles, this is a great example of how badly it's needed for this game. The loading up of the game feels like an eternity. Now maybe that's just because it takes a really long time to load, or I'm just so eager to play the game it feels like I'm waiting for water to boil. But all in all, not a lot is negative about this game so far. I hope you enjoyed my initial take, and I promise you'll love the full review coming out next week. Until then, keep gaming, be your own judge, and remember, mooching is a way of life. Thank you all. We'll catch you guys in the next video.
If I ever were to lose you, I'd surely lose myself. Everything I have found here, I'm not found by myself.
I want to thank everybody for checking out this video. It's my first video back in a while, and I'll be honest with you, it was a lot of fun to make. Got a lot more ideas. Please do hit that subscribe button, hit that bell, retweet it out, share it out, let people know.